Hello,
How are you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing well. Thank you so much for taking the time to speak with me today.
No,
Um,
thanks for having me.
of course, I am here with Nerds of Color and the podcast Tar Valon or Bust. My name is
Okay.
Preeti Chipper.
Hi, Preeti. How are you?
I am very, very excited to talk to you because Loial is one of my favorite characters.
Yeah, that's good.
Yes, very much so. And so I guess first off, I wanted to ask you, what is it that excited you about this character? And did you do anything in particular to prepare? Like, what was the best part of playing the Ogier?
So when I first auditioned, I didn't know necessarily what I was auditioning for. So yeah, it was really interesting. It was what was it? It wasn't like there was any. I think there was a little bit of secrecy because the name I had wasn't Loial, it was Lawrence. So yeah, so it was all very, hush hush. So I didn't really know what I was auditioning for. All I knew is that I was auditioning for this really big person, this really big thing. That's all I knew. Um, and then when I got the role, um, obviously, of course, I researched about him and about the Ogier and about the Wheel of Time, and I didn't realize how big it was, and there was that instant pressure of like, oh no, I hope I do, I really want to do a good job. Um, but yes, getting into character was, I guess, like the most fun bit. I think for an actor, I think that's like the best bit about being an actor is like getting into character and stuff. So definitely the costuming, prosthetics, that really helped a lot. But also about getting the spirit and the essence of Loial right, not just aesthetically, but spiritually. I think it was important for me to get that the melody of Loial right. So working with Naomi, who is the dialect coach of the Wheel of Time, um, and also doing a lot of work in terms of movement, um, you know, yeah. So I worked. I think I worked really hard trying to getting um his mannerisms down. I mean, it was all about making, I obviously I took a lot from the source material as well, but it was about creating my own interpretation of him because he is essentially a part of me, you know. So it was about making creating my own interpretation of him, and I hope I did an okay job.
I've been really enjoying your interpretation of the character. And you
Thank you.
mentioned costuming and makeup and all of that. And something I really like is that they've maintained things like hair texture
Mm-hmm.
and skin color. Were you surprised by that? And how long does it take for you to kind of get into that Loial persona?
Okay, so in the beginning, because there was a lot of trial and error, we had to find like the right face. So we had to put on like a lot of different faces, and then we found the right one because it's all practical. Uh, for me, I have to be able to act through the prosthetic, so you'd be able to see the stuff going on in my face, so we had to find the right face, and once we got that down, it was about um again, like I said, finding the essence of the spirit of Loial through the textures in the costume with Isis, and then finding, you know, with the MU effects of Nick and Dixie and Jack, who were the team that I work with, getting into the prosthetics. Um, so yeah, it takes about at the beginning it took about 4 hours, maybe a bit longer, and then now we've got it down to 2.5 hours.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
uh,
The early morning calls were tricky, but it needs to be done.
so you're kind of coming in the latter half of the season
Yes.
with this core group that the viewers have been following now for a couple episodes.
Hmm.
What do you find Loial's role is kind of as this newcomer and as we go in towards the end, getting to the end of the season now?
That's a really good question. I think his role is, I think all he wants to do is just help in any which way he can, which is what I love about him. So, like, even when he finally meets Moraine and what she asks him to do, and his trepidations towards that. But he's caught himself in a little bit of he's backed himself into a little bit of a corner, because he knows he kind of doesn't want to do it, but he knows that he wants to help them. So I think his role in the latter half of the season is just helping in any which way, in any way possible. He's just helping them.
Do you have a favorite scene or even like a favorite line that you can share with us?
A favorite line? Oh, I have a favorite scene, which you will see in this week's episode.
Okay. I know it's hard because you're like, I don't want to be spoilery, but I think something that I have sort of really enjoyed about Loials. Sorry, I have to be used to saying Loial now because I've said loyal for so long. Something I've really enjoyed about Loial's introduction to the story is sort of the joy that he brings to every scene he's in. And it's quite a serious story. It's quite a heavy thing these kids are going through. How did you find balancing that when you were bringing it into scenes with your fellow actors?
Yeah, when I joined the crew, I came in halfway, and but I always knew that I had to come in with my own energy. They had their energy. Their characters are going through some stuff, but I know that I meet Rand in Tar Valon in the library, with my favorite place, or Loial's favorite place. So he's always gonna come with a certain type of a different type of energy. Than they've been on the road for a month, and Loial's been in the library. Do you know what I'm saying? So there was always gonna be that, so I didn't quite pay attention to that so much as an actor. I kind of stayed away from their energy and made sure that my energy stayed intact. So that, and it was always going to make sense, because this isn't a character that's going to sort of spin them for a loop. You know what I mean? So it was always gonna make sense, in terms of telling the story and stuff. So I was never worried about that. But what I was worried about was keeping my energy my own, rather than trying to dip into theirs, because they're dip into the two rivers, because that's not where Loial's come from, and he hasn't been on the road for a month or something nowhere near as intense as that. So it was about making sure my energy was intact.
What is something that you are looking forward for people to see?
I'm really looking forward for people to see the ways. I think that's going to be a very special moment for the book fans, and for the non-book fans. But I think for the book fans, it's going to be a very special moment. I think you guys are really going to enjoy what we've created. So yeah, I think the ways is one of those highlights. It's definitely a highlight moment in the season.
As someone who is kind of come into this from a new perspective, I know so many people. I've been reading those books since I was 15 years old, but something that has been really fun is to see how new viewers are coming in and new people are discovering the series. Is there something that you are excited to see later on down the line? How far have you gotten into the story yourself, or are you kind of waiting as an actor to keep yourself in that space?
Yeah, I think it's the latter for me. I'm sort of waiting. I don't want to give too much away to myself. Is that a cop out? I don't know.
No.
I think I'm more excited about. I think the exciting thing for me right now is people who have never read the books have now started to read the books, and that's really special. My brother, my younger brother, he started watching the series, and he sends me weekly reviews of every episode, which I think is hilarious. But he's now reading the books, or he now wants to read the books, which I think is just so cool, because now it's just it's kind of we've opened up a new thing for a new generation, a new group of people who have started watching the series and now have such a love for the series, now want to create a love for the books, which I think is incredible. So I think that's the most exciting thing for me right now. I think in the future, I think it'll be, I guess, doing the same thing, just, you know, making the books accessible to everyone. I think we want to, and I don't want to speak to, I don't want to speak for anyone else, but I know that I want Wheel of Time to like go out far and wide, not just the series, but the books also. So yeah, it's a very special thing that's happening right now.
That is all the time I have, but thank you so much. This was so delightful.
Oh, thank you. It's been great.
Pop culture with a different perspective. Watch it on your screen, hit play, so check this.